Welcome to day 19 of Reset, Restart, Refocus. So welcome to day 19. It's very cold and very snowy outside today. I'm not sure what it's going to be like in the morning when I have to go to work at 6:30, but I'm sure that everything's going to be very, very icy. We just had quite a bit of snow, which is kind of nice because we really need it. I'm not complaining, but man, this has been a cold winter for us. Very, very cold. I'm taking 2 jackets to work. A heavy one to get me to work, and then a lighter one to wear at the hospital because I'm always cold sitting in the front desk by the door. So anyway, that's enough about that. I just wanted to mention that, yeah, we got quite a bit of snow and rain this afternoon, so we're getting much needed moisture. All right, so let's get on with the numbers. So here's my weigh-in from this morning. Okay, so I was 175.2, which means I had a gain of 0.4 pounds. I was kind of expecting it because I had a loss for a few days in a row, and I was kind of waiting for my body to catch up to it, but 0.4 pounds, that's not very much. So overall, I'm very, very happy with it. So here are this is my blood glucose. Okay, we're up to 90 today. Still not bad. Very good number. Okay, so at 6 o'clock this morning, my blood glucose was at 90, which means I was up 12 points. So that kind of correlates with the little bit of weight gain. Blood glucose goes up, and then so here's my ketones. And the ketones are still going strong, 2.8. So my ketones were 2.8, which means they went down by 4. And I mean, 2.8, I'm not going to complain about that. I'm not complaining about anything. I mean, it just you can kind of see how the weight loss and the glucose and the ketones all kind of work together, which kind of proves a point that I've been reading about and listening to quite a bit, is keeping your blood glucose low is very, very important for weight loss. Because as you can tell, when my glucose goes down, I lose weight. When it goes up a little bit, which isn't high, but when it goes up a little bit, I gain a little bit. So there you go. All right, so that's that. So I have something that I kind of wanted to share with you guys that's been on my mind for quite a while. Oh, but first, let's see what I ate today. Okay, so it's about 12:30 and I'm breaking my fast with a piece of string cheese and a few of these pepperonis. And then about 20 minutes later, I'm going to have peppers and sausage with salad, and I have a lunch date. Say cheese. All right, fine. Okay, so today was another OMAD, and so I added in a string cheese and 4 of the larger sandwich-sized pepperonis. I ate those first to break my fast, and then I ate my regular meal. And by the time I was done with everything that I had, I was really, really stuffed. I mean, I should have stopped at a certain point and just at full, but I was like, well, I need to increase my protein. I need to increase my my fats a little bit. So, I mean, there you go. I just ate and ate and ate, and I got over full, and I still, that was at noon, and it's almost, what, 6:30, and I still feel like it's weighing down on my stomach. So I'm kind of expecting another little bit of a gain tomorrow, because when I get that full and it sticks with me like that, I usually gain a little bit of weight. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And one thing that I've really been trying to train myself with is just eating until I'm satisfied. Not eating like it's the last time I'm ever going to see food. I just always been in the habit of getting over full and stuffing myself. And right now it's with healthy foods, it's with keto foods, and not with bad carbs, which is what I've always done in the past. But still, it's not a healthy thing to do. And we really need to learn to just eat until we're satiated, and not, just keep going and going and going because we like the taste of the food. Because I'll tell you guys what, the meal prep that I did this week, both of the dishes are super, super yummy. And I have a hard time stop eating them. So that's going to be maybe a little lesson that I'm going to learn for this next week or so. I'm really going to have to pay attention to eating until I'm full and not until I'm stuffed. That's a tough thing to do. I mean, do you guys have a handle on that? Have you ever tried to really pay attention to your body's signals? Because one thing that I've been reading about is that's one thing that skinny people do. People who are skinny all the time and don't ever seem to need to diet or anything like that, they've learned to eat until they're full and kind of stop from there. So anyway, that's what that's all about. And so there's just one more thing that I want to talk to you about today. I wanted to talk to you about hidden carbs. I have a couple little notes written here. Boy, I've been reading so much about hidden carbs in different kinds of food. And I've kind of known about a lot of this for a long time, but I just want to share a few thoughts about hidden carbs. So what are hidden carbs? Hidden carbs are carbs that are not listed on nutritional labels. There's some things that you use that is food that doesn't have a nutrition label at all, like seasonings. Most seasonings don't have a carb count on them or any kind of nutrition at all. Well, carbs do have seasoning. That's one of the seasonings do have carbs. I totally mixed that around. So, yeah. So I wrote down a couple of things here. So hidden carbs, number one is seasonings, and there's no nutrition labels on a seasoning bottle. But if you look on the USDA website, there's 7 carbs in a tablespoon of garlic powder. So yeah, who's going to use a tablespoon of garlic powder? Just sit there and eat that. There's also 1 carb in a clove of garlic, which is a teaspoon of fresh clove of garlic. So if you put a tablespoon of seasoning in your meal and you spread it out through so many servings, I mean, you can cut that down. But if you're using seasoning on top of seasoning on top of seasoning like I like to do, then you really need to watch how much you're using. Don't overuse it. I mean, for a long time, because I've known about this, I use salt, a little bit of pepper, and just a little sprinkle of chili powder, not too much, because I was always afraid of the carbs in the seasonings. Well, I've kind of let myself go a little bit because I'm not tracking or anything, and I am losing weight. And I'll probably start tracking after I stall to kind of see where to go from there. But you really need to pay attention and think about how many seasonings and how much you're using, and how many seasonings are in certain, how many carbs are in certain seasonings. Just kind of pay attention to that, because there's hidden carbs in that. Second of all, one of the mistakes I used to make in the very beginning is weighing my food and putting it in my FitnessPal, because that's what I was using at the time, after it was cooked. Well, a cooked vegetable versus a fresh vegetable have different carbs, because the carbs, a carb is a carb no matter what. I mean, if you have 100 grams of broccoli, I'm just guessing right now, and that 100 grams of broccoli has 10 carbs. I don't know, that's probably way too high. But then you cook your broccoli, and you're like, oh, I need to weigh my broccoli and see how much I have. And if you have that same amount of broccoli and you put it in your your macro tracker, and you put in the raw vegetable, the carb is going to be completely off from how it's cooked. I hope you guys got that. I mean, I just totally was losing my train of thought there. But what I'm trying to say is raw vegetables versus cooked vegetables have a different carb count for the, I mean, that's it. That's all I got to say about that. Moving on. Okay, and thirdly, labeling. You know, some things say that they have 0 carbs, and I just don't buy it. You know that the manufacturers, if something has less than a half a carb, they can put 0. If it has between 0.5 and 1 carb, they can put less than 1 carb on their label. But then there's certain things that just kind of puzzled me. How could this be 0 carbs? So I brought a couple of examples of things that I use all the time. Okay, so first of all, these pickled jalapenos. Well, jalapenos have carbs. I've made jalapeno poppers all the time and figured out the macros. And yeah, fresh jalapenos have carbs. But on the label here, can you see that? 0 fat, 0 carbs, 0 protein, 0 sugar, 0 everything. I just don't understand how this can be 0. So, and it's for 1/4 of a cup. 1/4 of a cup, or 32 grams, is quite a bit of jalapeno. So, I mean, maybe it has a half a carb or less, but I don't know. I always count this as 1 carb. So all my examples are spicy foods, because you know I love spicy foods and I have a lot of them, and I'm always looking at the carb count on them. So this is one of my favorite hot sauces, Pico Pico. And it's made with chili peppers, red jalapeno peppers, tomato paste, spices, salt. I mean, it's got all that stuff in there. It's got tomato paste in it. But look at the label. Look at what it says. For 1 teaspoon, which I never use 1 teaspoon, is 0 calories, 0 fat, 0 carbs. So on a taco salad, I'm going to probably use, I don't know, maybe 2 tablespoons. Maybe 1.5 tablespoons. I don't know. I like to really put it on there. And this is my favorite hot sauce to use on taco salad. But, I mean, really, is it really 0 carbs for a teaspoon? And if you use 1.5 tablespoons, there's 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. So I'm getting like, what, 4.5, 5 teaspoons? How many carbs am I really getting with this? So it's really hard to know when you're looking at labels and they say 0 carbs if they really are. And the same thing with pickles. I have pickles that say they're less than 1 carb, but cucumbers for the same amount are a higher carb count. So I don't know, but I usually, when I see stuff like that, I usually try to tally it up and add carbs to it for sure. Okay, and then the last one that I wanted to talk about is dairy. And it's a well-known fact to a lot of people that people can say that eggs are 0 carbs, and a lot of the heavy whipping creams will say 0 or less than 1 gram of carbs. I mean, all dairy, cheese has carbs. A lot of the packages, if you don't buy the pre-shredded cheese and you just buy a block of cheese, it'll say 0 carbs. But all dairy has carbs. Everything has carbs in it except for animal protein, pure animal protein. So, yeah, so if they, like I said before, if it has less than a carb, they can put 0. And eggs actually do have some carbs in it if you look it up on the USDA website. Heavy whipping cream. If I use, I don't usually use just 1 tablespoon. I'll use 2 tablespoons. I'll count that as a carb, because you just got to be really, really careful. If you're only keeping your carbs to 20 or under, all these little things are really going to add up. So just be mindful of it. I'm not trying to scare you away from all these things, because I use them, and I'm going to continue to use them, because I want my food to be flavorful. I want it to taste good, because if you don't make your food taste good, then you're not going to stick with it. It's not going to be sustainable. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted you to be mindful of the hidden carbs in some of the foods that you might be using. All right? So anyway, that's all that I have for today. I just want to share that with you. So until tomorrow, keep calm and keto on.